Hi, I'm Andy Wilson. I go here at the C.S. Lewis Center, and I'm an old friend of Dr. Sprague. She's going to tell us some of her stories about how she came to own this house, and then about her experiences with C.S. Lewis. So,
Okay.
how did you come to own this house right on campus?
Well, I was in England. My late husband was a Shakespeare scholar,
Mhm.
and so we went often to England. So um, I realized that now that he was retired, I would need a job, and I can't remember quite how I knew about this position. But anyway, I was hired for it over the transatlantic phone by a very nice man who was chairman of the department named James Oliver, and I came to take up this job. I went first to the old Columbia Hotel, which they tore down quite recently,
Mhm.
and he came over to see me, and I felt a certain sympathy for him. I thought he could hardly say, "Well, I don't like your looks, go away," after all of that to do, that he uh, put the job on the line, and I'd taken it, so
Mhm.
there I was, and what was he to do? As I say, he could hardly say go away. So anyway, we chatted a while. He said, "Have you found a place to live?" And I said, "Well, no, and I would love to live within walking distance of the campus." And he said, "Well, there's a lady advertising an upstairs apartment just very nearby. Let's go around there." So we went around here, actually not to this door, to the side door, because that was the entrance to the apartment.
Okay.
And Mrs. Yajin, by the way, it was an Armenian name, spelled Yagjin, Yajin was the name. And her husband was a professor of art, and she was an artist herself. In fact, I have some of her pictures upstairs. So she was a very sort of woof woof kind of a lady. She said, "Why are you wearing a sweater?" And I said, "Well, I'm from Vermont," which was a queer thing for me to say. My father was from Vermont, and we did spend the summers there, but why I said that at this particular moment was rather odd. And it turned out to be just the right thing, because they had a place in Vermont, and they went there every summer. So without further ado, she said, "You can have the apartment." And I hadn't even seen it, but I didn't care what it was like, because the location was superb.
Mhm.
I mean, you can imagine just to live right here and be able to trot over to the campus.
Right.
It was wonderful. So time passed, and I lived on the second floor, and we got along all right. And in those days, we had Saturday classes.
Mhm.
I'm sure you wish you'd been here then.
Yeah, no, not really.
There was one good thing about it. It was very symmetrical. Either you had Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or you had Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Mhm.
And this particular Saturday, for some reason, I didn't have all the classes were canceled for that Saturday, which meant that her husband didn't have a class either. He taught in the art department. So she said, "Well, since Ed isn't having a class, and you aren't having one either, come down and have morning coffee." So I was delighted to do that, and we were sitting in the room there,
Mhm.
and after a little bit, Mr. Yashin put down his cup, and he started out the door. And just at that moment, my mouth opened without my knowing anything about it, and said, "Dot, will you sell me this house?" I thought, what on earth? What did I say that for? She said, "Ed, wait a minute." He was going out the door to sell it to the university.
But you didn't know that.
No,
You just said,
yeah.
wow.
I mean, it was really extraordinary.
Mhm.
I felt as if I was meant to be here somehow.
And you had the resources to afford the house?
I had to get the money somehow. I mean, I had some money in the savings bank, and I think maybe my family stumped up a bit.
Mhm.
So I bought the house. I think I
Wow.
didn't have to pay for it all in one loan.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, that's fascinating. And you feel like there was some reason that you said that, or?
Well, I just felt somebody was behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't any more idea of buying a house when I came over to have coffee. Came downstairs to have coffee. I was already living in the house.
Yeah. But you agree, even when you said something you didn't know you were going to say,
Right.
but then you realized that you should after that? Or did you try to take it back?
Well, I was sitting there in shock. I was thinking it much of anything. So anyway, he had just got to the edge of the porch, I think, and she called, Ed, come back. And she told him that we had another offer, and he sold it to me.
Wow.